Hello everyone, welcome back to the Shintaro Higashi Show with Peter Yu. Today we're going to talk about fast track to success in grappling.
Fast track to success. So
Yep.
we're gonna talk about, I guess, how to practice and how to approach the
Yep.
whole, training sessions and whatnot. Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
Okay. All right. Before we go on, we'd like to thank our biggest sponsors, Levon and Jason. Thank you very much again. Anything else to plug, Shintaro?
Well, man, if you guys want to sponsor us too, that'd be amazing. That helps
Yeah.
us greatly with the podcast. There's so many listeners now. Everyone's like, hey, man, you're doing a great job. Show the love. Join us on Patreon, right? And support us. That way we could upgrade our equipment, keep doing what we're doing.
Yeah.
Maybe get Peter off the PhD track and do this full time. Can you imagine? Yeah.
Dude, I'll be poor man's Lex Freeman.
Yeah, there we go. There we go.
That's right. All right. Well, we were just talking about before we started recording this idea of fast tracking to success.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of aspects to it. So what do you want to talk about first? Yeah.
So there's ways to approach training methodology, practices, and then like all these different skill-based stuff. But this is more so like how to approach training, like with the coaches, and then getting information and being sort of on the radar, right? 'Cause
Yeah,
the
yeah.
more attention you have on yourself, and the more attention the coaches give you, the better you're gonna get.
Right.
So structuring your practices in a way where you get the most amount of yield is what I want to talk about today, mostly.
I see.
Yeah, because some guys like, oh, I do Taitoshi, I want to throw this guy. Like the technical stuff, I can't help you with from here where I'm sitting. I don't know what your judo's like, right? But there are universal things, right? Being in the room and things like this, and being around the right types of people that
Yeah.
can definitely help you across the board, no matter what grappling sport you're doing. So
Right.
that's where I want to kind of shift my focus today.
So it's more on the your attitude and how to.
Yeah,
It's not just about doing many uchikomis as hard as you can. We're
No.
not talking about that.
no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, so you mentioned something about like being noticed more.
Yeah.
Like in the-
So there's different approaches, right? You definitely
Yeah.
want the coaches to know you, know
Yeah.
your name, first name basis, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
Right? So you want to ask meaningful questions, but you don't want to do it in a way where it takes away from everyone in the room, or if
Right.
you have literally like no experience at all and you're just asking all these questions that anyone else in the room could have asked.
Uh-huh.
It's kind of annoying to the high level guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when you do ask questions to the top guy in the room or the person that you want the most attention from, you want to think those questions through beforehand.
I see.
Right? Something
Yeah.
that says like, hey, I've done my own research.
Right.
I
right.
want to increase this thing, but I was unable to have a clear solution here. Can you help me?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? And
So-
that's something that's like something that maybe like, for instance, like I got a question the other day, like, hey, you were showing this technique online. I was watching this video. I watched 3 other videos. You kind of said this and you kind of said that. Which one is it? Like I'm trying to figure out what's best for my style.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay, this guy has done his research, and it's not like and he was an intermediate beginner guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's not like a super advanced dude. But the way he asked it, I was like, all right, he's not just shooting in the dark. He's not just asking any question to ask me, right? He thought this through.
And not
Right.
not he's not asking all those questions like, hey, how do I throw a stiff arm person?
Yeah, here's
He's like-
the worst
yeah.
question. Like, what am I doing wrong? It's like the coaches aren't really watching you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Unless you have a very, very special relationship with the coach, most of the time the coaches are making sure no one's getting injured in the room. They're
Yeah.
training themselves. There's too many things to worry about. They can't remember 40 seconds into round number 3, you versus that guy in the corner left back of the mat.
Yeah.
There's no way that they can keep track
Yeah,
of stuff. Right?
So you have to do your own problem solving first. is
A
what
little
you're
bit.
saying.
And
Yeah.
when you ask the questions, you have to kind of signal to them that you have done a little bit of background information,
yeah.
research.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. Then I guess one thing I was curious about while you're explaining this is
Yeah.
how do you pick the right black belt or teacher to ask to? Like, do you? I mean, I guess it depends on what kind of gym you go to and how many instructors there are. But
Yeah.
like, is it for this type of question? Do you go straight to the head instructor or like the assistants? What's your general advice here?
So if you're taking someone's class, yes, it's fair game to ask that head guy.
Yeah.
But generally, there's a lot of levels in between if you're at a pretty big gym. Not even a big gym, like a
Yeah.
medium-sized gym, right? So definitely start off with someone that's like maybe 2 ranks above you, somewhere sort of in the intermediary. So you could get the most information out of that person, and that person probably, if they're intermediate, like a little bit higher level than you, maybe like a brown belt in judo, like a purple belt by jiu-jitsu standards or something like this, they're not going to guide you wrong with the simple questions that you may ask as a beginner intermediate.
Yeah.
Right. So that's a great place to first start off, right? Getting on that person's radar, and then you have that communication going where you're talking about technique and talking about this and that.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden, that's noticeable by a lot of the coaches too. You know,
right?
Because
that they're like hanging out, talking a lot with each other. Yeah.
Because there's the beginners that stick with beginners in the same cohort, right?
Yeah.
And there's beginners that kind of get like brought in by some of the intermediate, guys, and like this guy's going to be good, right? And those guys have a dialogue with the head guy usually, say, "Hey, this kid's going to be really good," you know. So like those things really can go a long way. You know what I mean?
Right. So like slowly, you don't have to go straight to the head instructor. Just kind of, it might be more fruitful if you approach the intermediate guys that are more, they probably have more time to spend on you, I guess. More one-on-one, yeah.
Definitely.
And then and then the coaches will notice that. Yeah. More than your individual rounds, probably.
No one gonna notice it. And then even if you think like, oh, I slammed this one dude, they're probably not gonna notice it. Unless it's like an egregiously dangerous thing. They'll definitely notice that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I see.
So there's a lot of things that, and some people just don't know how to ask those like meaningful questions, and they're insecure about it.
Yeah.
That would be a great time to pay for a private. I'm not saying like buy the coach's attention. I'm not saying that at all.
Yeah.
And then I know some people cannot afford it, right?
Yeah.
But it's a great use of your time to kind of get an idea or a dialogue going, to get on that radar,
Right.
Right. So when you do a private lesson, now you have all this information that was thrown at you, and now you could ask follow-up questions in the sessions following.
In detail, like you have his your head instructor's full attention.
And then later on next week, the week after, hey, remember that thing that we did? Hey, I was able to hit it on somebody. Hey, can we troubleshoot this? Like, I really gave it a lot of thought. That's a nice entryway into sort of the next stage up, right? Being on that radar.
Right.
And obviously not everyone can afford it. And once you do a private lesson with the teacher, they're like, oh, let's do another one. And not everyone can afford it.
Yeah.
So preemptively saying like, hey, I can't do these sessions all the time. I freaking work at Walmart or whatever job that you do. Like, I can't do it all the time, but I would love to just get a take on a couple of things that I've been working on. Like, can you help me?
So you better like come ready with like good questions to these privates.
Good questions to show that you have put a lot of thought into it.
Yeah.
And obviously,
make it count. Really, you're spending a lot of money on and time on it. Yeah.
And the underlying assumption here is that the coaches that you're approaching are very knowledgeable people who care and who are interested, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes you get a coach that's checked out, and then they just don't really care about it. Then you're in the wrong place already.
Right.
So there's some underlying assumptions here, right?
Yeah.
So,
so I guess like you identify your problems first.
Yeah.
That's first step, and then do your own research, and then start asking good questions to people around you, like intermediate people, and then maybe try to reach out further up. Yeah.
And yes, asking a question during technique session where the teacher's showing something, I really think like some of those questions are good. It's very rare,
Yeah.
Sometimes a brown or a black belt asks a great question, but it goes over most of the beginners' heads.
Yeah.
So I'm like, that's a very good question, right? But no one in the room is going to understand that question or get the answer to it in the first place. So, thanks for wasting everyone's time. Right? I would say it like that. And then when a beginner asks a question like, hey, can you show, what if this guy does that? And now all of a sudden, the intermediates know, like, don't ask those what if questions. What if the guy has a knife? What if the guy has a gun? Right?
Well, I personally really don't like those questions.
Yeah, it's like, dude,
what if he hip checks the other way? What if
yeah. So, there is a time and place, I think. I think before class, after class, those are always great times to ask questions, to be on the teacher's radar, and train close to the main guy. If you tuck away yourself in the back, no one's going to see you, right? I know the people who want to be visible are going to congregate towards, like, where I am.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The people who are tucked away in the back are like, oh, just leave me alone. I just want to kind of do my thing. I'll let them do their thing.
Yeah.
Right? But no, those guys are not going to be on the radar as much as the guys who are on mat 1.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Do you, but going back to asking questions during class, do you usually solicit for solicit questions from
I don't
people?
even say does anyone have any
Right.
questions. I
Yeah,
don't even do it.
that's
All right,
what
go try it out.
that's what I remember. Yeah.
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 I don't do it.
Because I see the idea is that you don't wanna delay your class and then that 2 to 3 minute attention span, right? Like I know
2 to
when
3
these-
minutes, that's
yeah.
it. Instruction, always 2 to 3 minutes. And majority of the times, I bring them back for 3 sessions, right? 3 3-minute sessions is like the majority of the instruction in the room.
Right, right.
3 minutes instruction, go do it for 3 to 5 minutes. 3 minute instruction, 3 to 5 minutes, right? So if you've been in the class long enough, most of the time I answer those questions second or third time around,
Yeah.
right?
I
And at
see,
the very
yeah.
end of it, someone still might have a question, and I'm walking around back and forth, like very attentive.
Yeah.
And people will go like this, hey, can I ask you a quick question? I'm like, yes, right?
Is that a good time to ask questions, you think, during
If it's
drilling?
concise, concise,
yeah.
right? And sometimes when they're rambling on and you're trying to get the words together and
Yeah.
they're like rambling, I'm like, listen, man, you're gonna get more out of just trying it and doing it, and it's gonna sort itself out,
Yeah.
right? So just keep drilling it, you know. And then sometimes when they're asking these questions, and I'm like, listen, man, you working with a blue belt or a purple belt, like that guy, he can answer the question for you.
Mm.
That's not a question that, right? So my time is better spent elsewhere. So these are the little adjustments that I make while I'm walking around teaching the class, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
You know, and then sometimes it's one of those things like this guy's brand new, he has no clue what's going on. Hey, you know, Greg, can you work with this guy and just teach him X, Y, and Z? Or, right. I'll specifically pair him for somebody else.
Right. So
Yeah.
maybe we'll talk a little bit about how to keep things concise, maybe, because
Yeah.
I think, people tend to.
Yeah.
Some people tend to ramble along because they have so many thoughts. If they've done the research, they probably has a lot of thoughts, and then
Yeah.
everything can come out like a war vomit.
I mean, you're getting a PhD now,
Right.
right? You went to Princeton, now you're at Michigan.
Something like that.
PhD.
Yeah.
You know what's funny? Someone reached out to me like, I can't believe
Yeah.
you went to Princeton with Peter. I'm like, I didn't go to Princeton.
No,
They're like,
you're an honorary student, man.
Yeah.
You're part of. Remember the eating
Yeah.
club I told you about?
That's right.
Yeah.
The Tiger.
Tiger Inn. Yeah, you'd have
Tiger
been
Inn,
on
that's
it.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. But so this is the thing, right? You're not going to ask your professor some dumb question like, hey, when was the final? Or when was the midterm? Or what's on the midterm, right? They'll be like, this guy's not... Get away from me.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, a lot of times these professors are really hard to get a hold of anyway, so you
Yeah.
don't want to waste time with these very basic questions that you can look
Yeah,
up.
and you, like a good Asian boy, sit in the front of the class and raise your hand and ask meaningful questions and then answer questions as well, right? That's thought
Supposedly.
out, and it's concise, correct?
Yeah.
Right? So now the
Supposedly.
professor's like, wow, this boy is just...
Yeah.
right?
I
It's the
try,
same exact
but
thing, dude. It's
yeah.
the same exact thing.
Yeah, it's being a good student, right? I guess. Yeah.
Yep. If you're sitting in the back on your laptop and then texting people, you're just not going to be able to do anything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
We talked about that in our last episode. Like
Yep.
when you want to focus, be attentive. I guess that being focused, and I think it's a skill. A lot of times what I find is that you try to, in the process of trying to come up with a good concise
Yeah.
question, a lot of times you answer your question yourself. I think that's like a cool thing about this type of exercise.
yeah.
So you may not even have to ask that question.
Yeah. It's true.
So think about it and try to make it concise. One point, 2 points maybe. You know?
Be concise about it. And then when you're on the radar, and obviously it goes without saying you have to show up to training every day.
Yeah.
Because the guy that shows up once or twice a week, or once a week, every 2 weeks, those guys, when they're asking questions, it's like, no, I'm not wasting my breath answering your questions when you're not dedicated to this thing.
And you probably answered that question last week when that person wasn't there.
Yeah, you just don't have enough information gathered,
Yeah.
right? It's like when I used to like cut class sometimes, and I'll show up every 2-3 weeks, and the teacher doesn't know who I am. I'm like, hey, what's on the midterm? And he's like, who are you again? Right? And then I get like put in my place.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Don't be that person.
Don't be that guy. So it's like you have to show up every day, and you do have to train, obviously, right? And even when
Yeah.
you can't train hard, because some people just can't physically train every day hard, you're going to have like high intensity days, low intensity days, technical days, and you have to mix these up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's okay. Some days like, hey, I'm going to start off the week very slow. I'm going to do a hard, training on Wednesday or whatever it is. Taper off, but still show up.
Mm-hmm.
Sit out the rounds, but then ask the thing. And you could always say like, oh, I tweaked my knee. I'm just kind of nursing it. Right? As opposed to like, oh, I'm so tired and I can't train. It's like, don't. It's like, hey, I'm just recovering a little bit. Can you watch this roll with me? Or, hey, I'm watching this person, or like you could even say like if you're sitting on the sideline, there's a black belt doing randori, you could watch that person attentively,
Yeah. And observe.
then afterwards and say, "Yo, Max, I did this other day.
Yeah.
One of our new guys, Max, he's a black belt, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, yo, and I was watching. I was going to do this, the entry to Sode. It was kind of a unique Sode where you like switch stances and then go. I'm like, why do you do that? And then, like, do you have other stuff when you switch stances and switch hand positions? He goes, well, and then he had a very good answer for that. You know? And then that was great.
Nice,
but
nice.
let's just say if someone else was much lower than him in level, he asked that kind of a meaningful question where it's like, hey, I was watching you. Hey, I've been paying attention. Hey, like, can you show me some of the stuff? Why do you do it? And then how do you do it? Of course, now this guy's going to be like, dude, of course I'll help you.
Yeah.
Because you're already validating it, right? Oh, it was great, right? You were watching this thing.
Yeah.
You know, so you're giving him attention. He's going to give you attention.
Yeah.
Right?
It's like, oh, I've studied your game. Please teach me more. I mean, it's kind of an ego boost, I guess.
It really is. It's like, hey, I noticed when you did this thing, right? It's like, hey, professor, I read your research on.
I know. I was about to say.
On
when
chatbots.
That's what. It's like when you want to like a research job. One of the best things is you just kind of puff them up. It's like, hey, I read your paper on this and this and that, and amazing research. Yada yada yada.
I've read every single one of your papers. You read 47 of my academic papers. Like, every single page.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan.
Huge fan.
That works. I mean, people are like that, you know.
People are susceptible to that flattery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you susceptible to flattery?
Oh yeah. Why do you think I'm on the internet so much?
Do people come up to you nowadays, like say, "Hey, I watch all these YouTube videos," and
all the time? Yeah, almost every day. Almost every day.
Do they usually ask good questions? Do you think that's like a good basis of research? Would you say? Watching your YouTube
people
videos,
ask great questions, and people reference certain things about my family that I don't even remember talking about, which is very weird. I had a guy find my number and then call me on the phone, and they were like, "Oh my God, you picked up. Let me tell you my thoughts on the current state of grappling." I'm like, "Oh Jesus." That happens.
What?
Yeah,
guys,
yeah.
Maybe not the best way.
With like 200,000 subscribers on YouTube, that it's kind of not getting out of hand, but it definitely does get to a place of like, wow, I can't know everybody. I can't respond to everybody. I can't read all the comments, and then I can't filter out, who's who, and even like, oh man, we go all the way back to college. Like, I followed you, you didn't follow me back. It's like I just don't. Yeah. There's just too many people following and unfollow. I just can't keep track of all that.
It's I think one thing people say about you're a celebrity, in the grappling world.
I guess minor celebrity.
Yeah, and what happens is a lot of the fans know so much about you, but it's not like the other way around. Yeah. So some fans, feel so close to you. Yeah. But the reverse is not, because you just don't know. Yeah. You don't know all the 200,000 people. You know, so
just can't.
Yeah.
But it's pretty cool. Even I did a seminar at Inverted Gear Academy over the weekend, and then guys were asking me like, "Hey, you showed this one thing, maybe like a year ago. I don't know if you remember it." And I kind of did remember it. It's like, "Hey, what is the solution for this? Georgian A, Georgian B, whatever it is." And I've been going for this, but I've been getting caught. Yeah. It's like, all right. And it was like how to free the tricep, So like posting away and pushing, and then leaning to this side to give clearance to the elbow. Right. That's a very, very, very specific question. Yeah. Right? Because it's like Georgian A, Georgian B, the guy's trapping the tricep. It's like, in the video, it's like, oh yeah, you don't want him to trap this arm. I just kind of gloss over it, but there's some nuance of like not letting him do it, Yeah. And sometimes it's switching over to that underhook, right? Yeah. So something like that, I was like, wow, this guy, studied this thing, is trying to learn this thing, and I'm going to try to give this guy a little bit more attention. When I was circling around, we were doing dayashis, right? Right. I was making sure he was doing it right, and if he wasn't doing it right, hey, do it like this, do it like that. I was much more keen to give him, like, instant feedback. Yeah. Right? So,
looping back to, our main focus here. So, fast track to success, and one aspect was, like, what did we first talk about? Like, getting noticed, right? Like, asking.
Getting noticed, knowing yourself.
And then the way to do it is asking good questions, doing your research, and then
Yeah.
asking your intermediate guys first, and then maybe reach out to your higher level higher belts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't rely on the main guy or the head guy or the
Yeah.
person who knows everything to like bring you in. You know, you
Yeah.
have to do some of the work yourself, right?
Yeah.
And it's like that thing, like if you're standing on the side of the road waving people down for help, nobody may pull over, right? I think Chris
Yeah.
Rock said this. But if you're pushing your car, then somebody's gonna pull over and be like helping you out, more likely to help you out.
Oh.
Right? Because no one want to help the guy that doesn't help himself.
Yeah.
Nobody. But the guy
Yeah.
that's trying very hard and then doing their very best, everyone want to help that guy.
Yeah.
You know? So being
Right,
mindful
right.
when you train, spending some time doing some analysis or introspection,
Mm-hmm.
these things go so long, right? And then not coming in here, doing judo 3 times a week, as hard as you can, and doing the same workout as everybody else. That's really not going to help majority of the people.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
So the fast track is like being mindful and designing your own sort of curriculum, right? Being as attentive as possible, mindful as possible, getting on the radar for the top coaches,
Yeah.
the people in the room. And then the more you have a community behind you that's invested in your growth, the more you can talk about this stuff, right?
Mhm.
Nick right now is one of our biggest guys who is the most dedicated in the gym.
Yeah.
You know Nick,
Yeah.
right? And boy, is he always asking questions. And he has group chats and he's sending messages and passing around reels and, hey, what do you guys think of this? And man, he's at the forefront of like just a judo conversation.
I see.
You know what I mean? So he's leaps and bounds in improving, you know, over everybody else because he's so much more dedicated, right?
Right.
And if he can't train physically, he's still there, present mentally, asking questions.
Oh,
maybe
wow.
not.
That's
That's
impressive.
dedication. you
Yeah.
know? Right. Don't come if you have COVID. You know, obviously.
Don't give everyone COVID.
Yeah, but even if you're a little bit sick, wear a mask, sit on the side. Oh, my shoulder's
Yeah.
banged up. Come in, drill, do what you can. Hey, do you want to do randori? No, I can't because I'm nursing a shoulder thing. But hey, can we drill some light stuff? You know, always working around your injuries, always staying engaged. You know, you have to make it fun for yourself, right?
So, how about this? Now, so we kind of talked about those strategies, fast track strategies to success.
Yeah.
And we always talk about how success means different things to people. And then in
Yeah.
this particular episode, success means like rapid improvement as a judoka or as
Yeah.
a grappler, and then finding a good community to where you can really grow as a grappler, right?
Yeah.
Some people just wanna get a good workout, and they may not wanna necessarily wanna put time to
Yeah.
come up with do the research and then come up with good questions and
Yeah.
all. Yeah. So what do you think about this? Like, what do you think about people?
That's okay,
like that?
man. That's
Yeah.
okay. And I
Yeah.
got guys like that in the gym. And as long as we have an understand, like, hey, I'm here to work out, make friends, and just kind of enjoy myself,
Yeah.
right? I'm like more than happy to support that.
Right. Right.
You know what I mean? Hey, what's going on, man? Like, get a good workout in. And then whenever they're kind of like slowing down, it's like, hey, get one in, work out more. Hey, push
Yeah.
yourself a little bit, right? And there's a little bit of that person has a different need,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? So my interaction with that person is not going to be like a very technical, hey, you're on my
right.
radar, I'm gonna, come here and let me show you something. It's not going to be like that, you know?
Uh-huh.
And that's going to be a little bit more like, hey, Johnny, doing great. Hey, Johnny, keep going. Hey, Johnny, did you get enough rounds? Hey, Johnny, how many did you do today? Hey, get 10 more rolls, okay? Or 10 more rounds, or 10 more throws, whatever it is, you know? Johnny, there's only 1 minute of push-ups. Push yourself hard for that 1 minute, right? So there's somebody in his quarter, like, helping him, you know?
So
and even then, being on the radar helps,
Yeah.
as opposed to, like, someone that sneaks in, hangs out in the back, disappears, like, before class ends, and
Right.
that guy's never really, on
Right.
the radar, right? And some people still are on the head guy's radar based on nepotism or being someone's brother.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When that person cares about said
Yeah.
family. You know what I mean? But generally speaking, like, that's fine as long as you have that understanding with the coach.
Right. I think
Right.
that's
And that
whatever
communication.
success is, you have to communicate to the coach.
Yes, for
and
sure.
then a good coach will help, whatever way that
Yeah.
they can. Yeah.
And I think, like, a lot of good teachers, a lot of good dojo owners, and whoever the authority is in the beginning,
Yeah.
asking the questions like, hey, what do you want to get out of this? Right?
Yeah.
And just asking that and understanding what motivates them is one of the biggest factors, because then you could base your entire training journey based around that.
Right.
You know, some people need the milestones of the accolades
Yeah.
and the goals, and I need this technique, this many days, and to be a yellow belt.
Yeah.
And those people aren't motivated by me, fist bumping and hey, you're doing good and taking people
Yeah.
down. They want to know they're progressing towards a rank. They need a checklist. Bang, bang, bang. Right? Those are the guys who go to school. They have a syllabus, a curriculum, a to-do list. Oh, my midterm's coming up. Check, 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 check. Right?
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
guy's not the same as a Nick.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That guy's not the same as the guy that wants to just come in and break a sweat and make friends.
Right. Right.
Right?
Right.
Some people just want to join a community and feel like they're part of something.
Yeah.
Some people just want to, like you said, work out and hang out.
Yeah.
And some people just want the achievement of, hey, I'm this belt or whatever it is, and
Yeah. I think for whatever success you define, you need to still do research and then let it be known, talk, communicate well with others in the
it
gym.
goes both ways.
Yeah.
I'll give you another one. The guy who does BJJ who wants to work on their stand-up coming into your gym, right?
Yeah.
Great. Just do the judo class 3 times a week. We do nothing that correlates
Will
over to the
translate
thing
over, yeah.
or translate. And they're going back to their gym hoping that they're going to launch people and they're not doing it.
Yeah.
That guy's going to quit.
Right. Right.
Right? But if that guy is on the radar for the coach, like, listen, man, I'm trying to fight in the Masters 4 Blue Belt Division, Pan American Championships, and I really want to take down my guys at the gym and show them that my stand-up is really good, and I want to smoke guys there, all right, can you help me? Okay, first you're going to have to buy a 10-pack of private. Not even that, but it's like,
Fast
all right,
track.
Yeah. All right, we're going to do Uchimata, but, we're going to make some adjustments for you specifically, right? And
Right.
then show an Uchimata, maybe show a backstep, can't get Uchimata. And, in the context of BJJ, you're going to do this hand position, that hand position, these are the slight adjustments. And having that one-liner right there,
Yeah.
right? Whenever he's in the room, hey, it might be tough. The guy has his hips far back.
Yeah.
Snap down and go for Uchimata, or fake Uchimata, then snap down. Those two things are interchangeable, right?
Yeah.
So you're staggering the timing against the guy who has their legs back, and then the finish is not going to be as clean as a judo finish, like a lifting finish.
Right.
You're going to have to hop through and stuff the head, right?
Yeah.
And something like that, that's what they're there for, and you're giving them exactly that. And the only way that they could get there, a lot of the times in a sea of 40 people in the room, is to be on my radar,
Yeah.
right?
And you do so by being upfront with your goal, doing your own research, and then kind of hey.
Yeah, all the things we talk about.
Yeah. I've noticed that Uchimata works well on some BJJ people.
Yeah.
How do we make that happen?
That's right.
Yeah.
And if you say you want to do training and you want to do this, you want to get better, and if you only come in once every 2 weeks, I'm not going to believe you. I don't care what you say. It used to be okay, sure, if you want to do this competition, I'll help you, buddy.
Yeah.
But now it's okay, whenever someone tells me that, I'm like, all right, let's see if you show up for a month straight,
Yeah.
3 times a week consistently.
Yeah.
If you do, I'll help you. If not,
I mean,
right?
that's it. Yeah. This is coming from painful experience from the past,
Oh, yeah,
things didn't work out, and
always. Why am I wasting my breath on this guy
Yeah.
who's telling me he wants to do something? Anyone could say anything.
Yeah.
It's like, show me.
You gotta walk the
show
walk.
the teacher.
Yeah.
When I did ballet, dude,
That's right.
I got very good at ballet.
You are on the radar of that ballet teacher.
Blah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was there was a guru, a ballet teacher, right? And
I've
he
hung
was
out with this
famous-
guru
that's
too.
right,
He's a funny guy. Yeah.
He was famous for building up the first Indian principal dancer for the New York City Ballet.
Yeah.
And there was a slew of guys who
Yeah.
would go follow him around everywhere for every class that he did, who
Yeah.
wanted to be a professional ballet dancer, and they would call him Danny's boys.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the gayest thing I've ever heard, right?
Yeah.
And all of them were gay.
Yeah.
They're all ballet dancers. I shouldn't say all of them. It was 90% of them were gay. So now all of a sudden, I want to get into ballet. I started getting into it for flexibility purposes and mobility purposes, and I'm trying to meet a nice girlfriend or something, and then I'm getting into that world of oh, this is something I do twice a week, right?
Yeah.
But now little by little, I start liking it, and it's fun.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, this guy is all right, what is this guy? He definitely doesn't look like he belongs here. He definitely sucks.
Yeah.
But he's definitely different, and he's showing up every day, right? And then
That
I
was the
start asking
point.
him
You keep
questions.
showing up. Yeah.
And then he was like, yo, what is your deal? And I was like, this is my deal. And then I had a conversation with him, and he's like, all right, why don't you come to my advanced class tomorrow? I was
Oh,
like, what? And there were guys like New York City ballet dancers, ABT
Yeah.
former dancers, people who were professional on Broadway. All these people were there.
dude,
I was the worst person in the room, dude.
You brought me to all the classes, and guys, these ballet is no joke. It's
Yeah.
one of the toughest things I've ever done. Yeah.
Oh, judo's way tougher. Let's not even kid ourselves here, right? Judo's a million times tougher. But anyway, I'm there and I look like a buffoon, and
Yeah.
you know, obviously it's very embarrassing. But I'm like toughing it through. I'm like, all right, you know, like, I'm pretending like no one exists, and this guy's like, you know what? Keep coming to the advanced class, and now all of a sudden I'm on this guy's radar. He's right, little by little. It took 2 years for me to like
Yeah.
be, I don't want to say proficient, but able to do all these moves.
Mhm.
I'm not saying like I could dance like a ballerina.
No,
I'm
you
not
could
saying
do
that,
really
you know?
do well. Yeah, I saw you.
By
Yeah.
anybody's beginner level, I'm like, oh, I could do all the beginner classes,
Yeah.
right? And then like, I could, you know, it could be like a 22-year-old woman who's like trying ballet for the first time, and I could be like, yo, you follow me,
Yeah.
right?
You were you the like the purple belt?
Huh?
Were you like the purple belt? A blue belt?
Yeah, 4-stripe blue maybe,
Well, 4-stripe blue. All right.
maybe purple. I don't know. Yeah, depends. Not a competitor level purple. You know what I mean?
Right.
Not competing at like world championships at the purple belt level and winning.
You're the ones that don't warm up, don't participate in the warm up in the back, and then
Masters
like,
3 purple belt, hobbyist twice a week. That beats most of the other younger
Yeah.
purple belts. That's the guy that I was in the ballet room.
All right.
But you
Yeah,
know,
and-
like
yeah.
there's a hierarchy in the room of like who stands where, right?
Oh, I didn't know that.
They are,
I know-
right?
Yeah.
And then the main guy stands near the teacher because, all right, we're gonna do Tandu Zanqua, whatever it is, and then blah, right? We're gonna go into so that guy has to demonstrate it.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? So
Yeah.
like a person who's new can't stand there, and then the spot in front of the mirror, or where the mirrors converge, so you could look at yourself from both angles. Like that's reserved for like the top 5 guys.
Right.
Guys and girls, right? This is
Yeah.
97% of the class is girls.
Yeah.
That's why I went in the first place.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, eventually, like, you're tucked away in the back. No one sees you, but then, hey, Shintaro, why don't you come stand over here? And now, all of a sudden, I'm friends with this guy, Casey, who was on Broadway. He was an amazing dancer. He was a professional dancer, right? And he would be like, Shintaro, come stand next to me. Right? And I'm like, all right. He's kind of big dogging me a little bit.
Yeah.
He's like, you can follow me if you get confused. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then we're doing our thing, and he's like, hey, yeah, port bra, wrong arm, wrong leg, like giving me little things here and there.
Yeah.
And before you know it, that's became my spot.
Yeah.
It's him, the number one dog. The number one dog's over here in front of the teacher, and then the number 2 spot right by that converging mirror, and right behind him was me.
Nice.
So I'm following the number 2 guy, and then the girls behind me are following me.
Oh.
Right? Yeah. Making sure they're doing the right. And this is not the advanced class. This is like sort of the intermediate beginner. This is a 10 a.m. on a Tuesday,
Uh-huh.
Right?
Damn.
And now all of a sudden it's like I'm friendly with these people. Class ends, people scurrying out. New people are shy. They're like out. Now I'm like sitting there bullshitting with the guys who do this for a living, and we're talking about dance. We're talking about this. How many pirouettes can you do in a row? Oh, I could do 6 without warming up or whatever it is. How many can you do, Shintaro? I hit 3 before once. Like right. And now,
Dude,
like, the communication for the jargon's there. Like, I'm always in the mix of talking about this stuff. Right?
There are so many parallels to judo and BJJ schools here.
But everything you want to learn, you could do it in this manner.
Yeah.
If you're in school and academics, it's this way.
Right.
If you... What is it? Football? Like, you got to be on the coach's radar,
Yeah.
Right? It's like if you are not on the radar, don't practice, don't ask questions, you're just part of the room, you're not very good, you just will be sitting on the bench the whole time.
Yeah.
But there's kids on that team, remember when you're in high school? Like, why is this kid starting? Why is this kid getting playing time? He freaking sucks, right?
Uh-huh.
Oh, it's because he's the coach's favorite. Why do you think he's the coach's favorite?
Tries hard
on the radar.
Right on the radar, yeah.
Maybe pays for private lessons. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Like anything you want to learn in a class setting, this is how it's done.
Dude, man, I did ballet like 2-3 classes a day, dude. I did that. right?
I remember you're so in it. You even eventually had a little show of for yourself.
Yeah, I did all of it, dude.
Yeah.
9 o'clock class, I was doing until 11 to 1.
Yeah.
And then I would go to the gym, and then I would go to the dojo. That was my schedule, like, majority of the days. And sometimes on Tuesdays and Thursdays when I didn't do judo at night,
Yeah, you go.
you know, I would go do ballet in the evenings.
Yeah.
On Tuesday night, I would do this class called Pop Ballet, where they would do ballet class to a song.
Pop song?
Like a pop song.
Yeah.
And Heather Hawk taught this class, and she was like this super hot blonde woman. She was like a little bit older, like she was like 40-something years old.
Yeah.
And, dude, immediately I was on the ladies' radar, dude. Because I walked in there, and she was like, what are you doing here? Kind of. She was kind of like standoffish about it, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, you know, and I just started chit-chatting, and she was like, is this guy like a creepy dude doing this thing?
Right.
She's like, well, this is like a little bit more intermediate level. You have to have experience. It's like, I've been dancing with Danny and these guys forever, you know, for almost a year and a half. Like, I take all these classes in the mornings. I'm like a morning class guy. You know? And she was like, welcome.
Yeah.
Where do you want to stand? And I was like, I'll stand right over here. And then did the thing. And then little by little, man, she like took me under her wing, and she'd be like, right? And
You're
sometimes like I was missing the musicality of it, and then she would just be like, holding my hand. She would like, give me your hand, and she'll hold my hand, and like, and then me and I'd be blushing, you know, all that stuff, and it was the best.
I guess I kind of had that.
Yeah.
It's like me showing up to the BJJ school in Michigan.
Yeah.
Just like randomly, like, you know, with the raggedy gi. That's clearly not a beginner, I guess. But then everyone's like, who is this guy? But they're like, oh, I know Shintaro, and then Dave Garmo knows you and all that.
Yeah. And then, you know, you're a nice guy. You're not killing everyone, hopefully.
No.
You're
I was getting killed. Yeah.
Right? And then, you know, you're just a friendly guy, and I'm sure you were on the radar. You know, that's the fast track to success. With anything.
Yeah, I was on the radar. Yeah, Dave always wanted to go with me because I'm a judo guy. He did judo, and then we would do stand-up rounds, you know, and people would watch.
What blue belt can walk into a jiu-jitsu gym and start doing live rolls with the instructor within a month of being there? Yeah. Consistently.
First class, every time he would ask. Yeah.
That's amazing. See, that's amazing, you know, and you don't have to have gone to Princeton to figure this thing out.
No.
You know what I mean?
No, it's all thanks to my connection to Shintaro, and then I came.
That's all you.
I did come consistently, and then like, you know, train hard, you know.
Yeah.
So and I went hard, so that's probably helped. Anyway.
And then you quit.
Yeah, because I moved, and I you know, I wanted to focus more on judo again, you know.
How's that going?
It's good. It's good. I'm probably gonna go tomorrow.
Are you in with the top guy?
Well, I go to Christian's gym now, so.
Oh, well, so you're in with the top guy.
I am in it. Yeah.
Yo, take a picture with him and send it to me.
Okay, I will. Yeah.
I have no idea what he looks like now, so.
No, he's the same, man. He's the same now. Yeah.
He didn't gain weight?
I think he gained over the pandemic, but he lost it all, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
You
still
strong.
strong.
Do rounds with him?
Yeah. Still strong. Beats me out. Yeah.
Nice. Guys
on
like
the
you at
ground
the gym?
and stand. Huh? Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. How many guys are in the room?
I would say it's kind of a weird situation because it's like half club judo people and half through the school who take the class. So I would say the club people are like 10 people.
Nice.
That usually, I think that's how many will show up, but then the class people will stay on and then kind of do rounds together too. Yeah. So it's good. There are a lot of young people, so it gives me a good workout. Yeah.
And also to answer the question that somebody else had, we're going to do a separate podcast about it, but leveling up from here.
Yeah.
Because it just kind of segues into it so nicely.
Yeah.
You know? It's identifying the crop of guys that are also on the radar and spending more time with them.
Yeah.
And then doubling up on the rounds. That's another one that's super, super, like, underappreciated. Doubling up on rounds.
We'll dedicate a separate episode for this. Yeah.
If you want. Yes, we can.
Yeah.
I'll just knock it out right now.
All right.
Yeah.
Sounds good. So we talked about all these strategies to, going on the fast track to success. Anything else?
No, man. That's it.
All right. Cool.
Please join us on Patreon, guys. Join us on Patreon. Yep.
And, talk to other grapplers on our Discord server.
Yep.
And we'll see you guys in the next episode.
Yep.